Now we are going to talk about depth of field inside of Cinema 4D. Now if you see this camera over here you will get this option known as focus distance and focus object. These options are usually used to add depth of field to your object, I mean your scene. So before we go in depth about that, we need to understand two major settings in our render settings. Obviously whenever we are going to talk about render settings we will talk about that again, but right now you need to understand this concept. Now if you see over here renderer, there are obviously so many types of renderer over here, but generally we use standard renderer, which is very basic, provided by Cinema 4D, and then another one is physical, which is quite useful to enhance your renders. And if you select on this physical you will get this option known as depth of field. So if you're a After Effects user and you use 3D camera in After Effects or in any other software, you should know how what is depth of field and what is the purpose of it. Okay, so make sure that your depth of field option should be enabled over here, then only it will look nicer in our rendering. Then and this is about the rendering, but if you want to see depth of field in our scene, then over here you will get these options. And over here you need to enable depth of field options, which is over here. Okay, so you need to click on that also, so then we can see that depth of field options. Now to enable depth of field you need to select this camera, and over here we will get two options like focus distance and focus object. So right now we will talk about focus object. With the help of that, what you can do, with the help of this icon, I can select on which object I want to focus. Suppose if I select this object, let's say, so now my camera is focusing on this object like this. Okay, so even if you see over here this camera is pointing towards this object. Now hit Ctrl Shift Z like this. Now select this camera. Over here you will get this option known as physical like this, and f-stop right now it's 8, but as soon as if I make it 0.1, let's say, you will see that there is this little bit of blurriness added in our scene. This is because in camera we have selected this focus object to this one. Suppose if I select this object, then you will understand that the camera is focusing on this, not on this. And even if you hit Ctrl R, as you guys can see, the camera is more focusing on this cube rather than this platonics and this cube. Okay, so this is the use of focus object option. Then you can go to the physical, and instead of 0.1 I'm going to put 0.1, let's say. And now if you hit Ctrl R, now as you guys can see, it depends on us how much amount we give. For example, if I give 0.7, I'll get a little bit of less blurriness and my camera is focusing on this. Okay, so this is the one way to adjust the focus distance. Otherwise you can simply hit clear over here, and with the help of focus distance you can adjust that focal length according to your needs like this. Okay, you can adjust the distance wherever you want to focus on. Like if I increase it too much up to this cube, now this camera will focus on this cube rather than this platonics and this cube over here. Okay, so this is the depth of field thing we can do in Cinema 4D, but we need to make sure that our in render settings should be in a physical renderer, and in physical renderer our depth of field should be on. Then sampling qualities, if you want, then you can increase it high, but obviously if you are going to increase it, it will take too much time to render. So generally we use medium or low or only preview. Okay, it depends on your quality of your scene. According to that you can adjust these settings. So yep, this is for depth of field in Cinema 4D camera.